All right, let's go to Gailey. Hi, you're on with Herman Cain. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, Gailey. Go ahead.
Compliment you. All right. My name is Gailey, and Mr. Cain, you have my vote at the moment. I'd like to compliment you on your ability to speak and answer without a teleprompter the questions you've been given, and in a thoughtful and concise manner. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
My question is, since you consider yourself a constitutional candidate, what is your position on the UN Treaty on Small Arms in relation to the Second Amendment?
The UN, I'm not familiar with all of the specifics of the UN Treaty on Small Arms, but I can tell you if it infringes in any way on our Second Amendment or our sovereignty, I am against it. So without even knowing what the requirements are in that treaty, I don't agree with it if it infringes on our Second Amendment, which I strongly believe in.
Okay, let's go to Christian. Hello, Christian. You are on with Herman Cain. Welcome.
Hi, Mr. Cain. How are you today?
Hello. Great, thanks.
I want you to know that I'm very, very impressed with you, and I'm not usually impressed by politicians. My question...
I'm a problem solver, okay? Let's get the terminology right.
Okay.
Politicians are those other folk.
All right, I can handle that, and I believe in you, okay?
Thank you, Christian. Go ahead.
How do we know you're going to keep your promise when we just are going through now a bad scenario of what was said in 2008 and what's really going on now? And we knew more about the other person, the current administration. We knew about some of these people already. And yet, some of the people went and voted for them. I don't understand that. Now, you speak with clarity. You speak with a high note. I agree with Raymond in the beginning. You're at the top of the list.
Christian, we're getting very short of time. What's your question?
All right. I think he's asking, Rusty, how do we know that they can trust me and that I'm going to keep my promises? Let me answer it this way. First of all, I was in business for over 40 years, and I succeeded in business because I'm a man of my word. Secondly, anybody that has ever worked with me will attest to my personal integrity. Thirdly, I climbed the corporate ladder at the Burger King Corporation. I climbed the corporate ladder at the Pillsbury Company, and I never stepped on anybody for personal advance in corporate America. Third, then the other point is I'm a man of faith. I have been a Baptist all of my life, and I am guided in many of my decisions based upon my faith. Now, no, there isn't a perfect Christian out there, but I am a Christian, and I believe in God, and I believe in treating my fellow man the way that I want to be treated, and that includes not making promises that I cannot fulfill. So the only thing that you know about me keeping my promises is what my character is composed of. My parents taught me and my brother to believe in God, believe in ourselves, and believe in the United States of America. And anybody that has ever dealt with me will tell you that I am a man of my word. And if, as one of the previous callers indicated, something has to change because of information I didn't have before I made that statement, I will explain it to the American people. But this is where I think people will need to look at my character, look at my faith, and look at my stance on things, and they'll have to make a value judgment in terms of whether or not I would be a man of my word, which most people who know me know that I would be.
All right, we have another poll question I need to get out there quickly. What do you think is the best approach to fix the rising unemployment in America? Go to your phone if you're on the conference call. Press 1 if you believe government should create more jobs. 2 if you believe government should raise taxes to help the unemployed. 3 if you believe government should cut deeply into federal spending and regulations. 4 you believe the government should continue with their current plan. If you'd please vote in the poll there, we would certainly appreciate it. Let's go to Mitch. Mitch, you are on with Herman Cain. Herman, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's make them good. Go ahead.
All right, Mitch, go ahead.
Mr. Cain, how are you?
Right. Great, thanks.
All right. You know, we've when the Constitution was written back in the old days there, we had some pretty smart guys that did that, and, they were well ahead of their time. Now, we've got kind of, for the last, since Woodrow Wilson, and even before that, we've had these people destroying our Constitution. We have currently people doing this. How are you going to try and bring this Constitution back to life in this country? Because, if we don't have this, people were talking about states' rights a few minutes ago. It's not the government's responsibility to give us state rights. It's their government.
We're getting short of time here. How are you going to bring back the Constitution, Herman?
All right. Here's how I'm going to bring back the Constitution. First of all, we don't need to rewrite the Constitution. We need to reread the Constitution and enforce it. And one of the ways we enforce it, and I believe that somebody in Congress has proposed this idea, and that is every time a bill is proposed for signature by the president, we need to ask the question, how does that adhere to the Constitution of the United States of America? If they had done that with the health care mandate that's in the Obamacare bill, they never would have put a mandate in there. Now, some people would argue that it is covered under the General Welfare Clause. That's why we have a court system, because we not only must enforce the Constitution, we must enforce it with the strength of our judiciary system. And so I would start to look at any new proposals or bills in relation to that, and I'm going to ask that question, and I would hope that others would ask that question. And then secondly, ask that same question about a lot of programs that we already have. What's the constitutionality of those programs? And if some of them are obvious, then we can obviously take the necessary steps. Start testing proposals, bills, and legislation based upon the direct reference in the Constitution. That's how we start the process.
Ed, you're on with Herman Cain. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Cain. First of all, you're a breath of fresh air, and I really appreciate this chance to talk to you. Out here in California, we have problems with voter fraud and with voting fraud. And I'm wondering, the Republican Party has a tendency not to touch the issue because of the being accused of voter suppression. Will you touch the issue when you're campaigning?
Yes, I will, because I have seen and heard of voter fraud situations all over this country. And what I would do is encourage states. Remember, I want to empower the states by encouraging the states. Georgia has already passed some laws requiring a voter ID. South Carolina is in the process of passing one requiring voter ID. And I think that every state in the union ought to do something similarly, and I would encourage it from the federal level. I don't think we need a federal ID program for voters. I think we need a state-by-state ID program, which would cut down on the voter fraud. And you and I both know that the people who fight against having some sort of statewide voter ID with a picture are the very ones who knows that all of the voter fraud is going on. And so when you have civil rights organizations want to jump up and start talking about it's a violation of civil rights, that is absolutely not the case. All they are trying to do is to help protect the fraud that they know that's going on by not requiring that. Look, we can't get on an airplane without showing the proper ID. Why in the world shouldn't we be able to show the proper ID in order to vote for somebody who is going to make laws that are going to impact the people? It doesn't make good common sense. So I am going to touch the issue.
A great point there, Herman. Michelle, quickly, you're on with Herman Cain. Hello.
3 quick questions. Given the number and influence of extreme radicals in the U.S., attempting to devalue the dollar and collapse capitalism, how would you frame that issue? Would you allow your Justice Department to investigate and pursue charges? Number 2, regarding the Arab uprising, are you the least bit suspect of the intent in the region, and are you willing to keep pressure on the area to protect and stand with Israel? And last, do you feel we have a problem with radical Islam in the world?
Yes, I believe that we have a problem with radical Islam in the world, and I realize the seriousness of it. when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel made the statement in a speech that I heard him give a few months after 9/11/2001, and he said there are two things that Americans need to learn about terrorism and radical Islam. Number one, it's going to go on for a long time, and number two, they want to kill all of you, meaning all of us Americans. And so, yes, we have a problem with radical Islam in the world, and we have a problem with radical Islam right here in the United States of America. As far as those that are trying to suppress capitalism in this country, my objective would be to reverse those things that are hampering capitalism in this country. Capitalism is what built this country and made this country the greatest economic engine, the greatest military engine in the world in almost 235 years. Many of the countries that hate us have been struggling for thousands of years to develop the kind of way of life that we have, but they haven't. Why? Because they didn't have the right form, they didn't have the right ideology. And as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in that speech that I heard, which I agree with, is that the reason that they want to destroy us, the reason that Osama bin Laden wanted to destroy us, is because their ideology lost. The American ideology of democracy and capitalism and free markets won because we've created such a great country with those freedoms that we enjoy. And so they know that their ideology can't overtake us, so that's why that ideology, that radical Islam ideology, that's why they want to destroy us. And in terms of our relationship with Israel, I would summarize the Cain Doctrine with one of our best allies in the world. We have a good relationship with Israel, but I believe that we could also have a great relationship with Israel. I want to improve it. And I would also say to the rest of the world who question our relationship with Israel, our strongest ally, and there are a lot of reasons why we should continue to build that relationship. I would say to the rest of the world, quite simply, if you mess with Israel, you're messing with the United States of America. That's the Cain Doctrine as it relates to Israel.
Our last poll question, if you're on the telephone conference call, would you like to help Herman Cain? If yes, you'd like to volunteer, press key 1. If you'd like to donate, press number 2. If you'd like to get some more information, press number 3. Herman, you got about 1 minute. Why should people support you and support the Herman Cain campaign?
Thank you, Rustin. I want to thank everybody. Here's why people should support Herman Cain. I'm not a politician. I'm a problem solver. Number 2, they should support Herman Cain because Herman Cain believes as they do that we are on the wrong track and we can get us back on the right track, and it's not too late. Number 3, I believe in common sense solutions, and I believe that what problem solvers do is that they fix stuff. And fourthly, and probably the most important thing, I will be a president of the people, by the people, and for the people, not a president of the politicians, for the politicians, or by the politicians. I tell audiences all the time, the establishment is not going to elect Herman Cain. No, we the people, the real people, are going to elect Herman Cain, President of the United States of America, and I believe that we can make that happen. May God bless everyone, and I do know, folks, that God is blessing America. And thank you, Rusty, for doing a great job.
Thank you, my friend. We will talk again soon. And thanks, everyone, for joining us on our Tea Party Cyber Town Hall. We'd like to thank Herman Cain for taking time out of his schedule to answer your questions. I want to thank our sponsor, theteaparty.net. Please visit their website at theteaparty.net and www.teapartycybertour.net to attend future town hall meetings. You can also find out more about our guest, Herman Cain, at www.hermancain.com. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time here on the Tea Party Cyber Tour Teletown Hall.